Amanda, I want to play a game.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. As you can see from the title, today's video is my full review with spoilers of Fear Street Prom Queen. This is the fourth installment in the Fear Street film series that are based on the books of R.L. Stine of the same name. As always, all my reviews are with spoilers, but if you don't want them just to see if this was worth it or not, on the description box down below, there you're going to find my spoiler-free review because I'll give you guys the two options. Given that quick disclaimer, let's get into the video. Fear Street Prom Queen follows when the 8 girls competing for Prom Queen at Shadyside High start to disappear. A ghostly outsider discovers she is in for one hell of a prom night. With a running time of 1 hour and 28 minutes, the senior class of Shadyside High is preparing for their senior prom. The protagonist, that is Lori, she signed up to be a candidate for Prom Queen against the mean girl or the it girl of Shadyside High, that is Tiffany. Lori is an outcast because there is a rumor that her mother killed her father that was from Sunnyvale, but she was deemed innocent, but the rumor still runs, so everyone believes that she is guilty. But the night before the senior prom, one of the candidates gets killed by a masked killer. The following day, during prom, Lori attends with her best friend that is also an outcast called Megan. As the night progresses, little by little, the candidates for Prom Queen, they start to disappear and they get killed by the same killer. Eventually, Lori gets her own encounter with the killer, but she is able to escape. She tries to tell everyone what is happening, but at that same time, she is announced Prom Queen. She wins over the it girl, that is Tiffany, but when she gets on stage and she's getting crowned, the masked killer appears and goes straight to her, but he's able to be taken down and he gets stabbed with the crown by Lori. When the mask gets off, it is revealed that the killer is no other than Tiffany's father, that is also a teacher at the school. His reasoning is because he knew how much his daughter wanted to be prom queen, and also his wife, because the thing is that due to what Lori's mothers did, her prom was cancelled that year. So the mother wanted the daughter to have the moment that she couldn't have. Since Lori and Tiffany are neighbors and Tiffany's mother has to stay with the police to give her own declaration, they decide to leave together to Tiffany's house. Eventually, the mother is able to convince the policeman to let her go to be with her daughter after everything that has happened that night. But this is when the plot twist comes, and it's that the mother knew all along and she was part of the plan, and she was the second killer that we see as a moment of the movie. She arrives with a knife, and Tiffany and Lori, once realize what is happening, they go to hide on a closet. But here comes the second plot twist, and is that Tiffany knew the plan all along and she was also part of it. This is when it gets revealed that the whole family had the plan of killing not only Lori but all the other candidates, so in order to Tiffany being prom queen. But obviously that didn't happen. Lori pushes Tiffany down the stairs and she falls into a sculpture, dying at the moment. Lori has that final fight with Tiffany's mother, but she's able to also kill her, and Lori is able to leave the house, and that is how the film ends. But don't leave so soon, because we have a mid-credit scene that shows Tiffany's mother laying on the floor, and all the blood that is coming out of her head is doing a very well-known symbol that we saw on the original Fear Street trilogy. Before I get into the review, I want to quickly run down the things that are different and the things that are the same within the novel and the film. But this is going to be very fast to tell because there are so many things that are different that it's easier to tell the things that are the same. Essentially, the things are the same: the title, this setting, we are on a senior prom on Shadyside High, and that the mean girl was the killer. On the novel is only the mean girl, and the whole reason was because she wanted to be prom queen and she wanted to get rid of the competition, but the parents didn't know anything about it. So here we have the parents involved, but at the same time it's similar in terms of the fact that the mean girl was part of it. But when it comes to the things that are different, basically everything. The characters, the names, their physical description, their personalities, characteristic, everything is different. The novel is 3 weeks before prom. The girls, they get killed outside of the prom night, while here we only have one that gets killed the night before, and the other ones they get killed during prom. There was also a school play that was going around the same time that is not even mentioned in here. There are so many characters that they don't appear here. So as you can tell, this is a very loose adaptation of the novel. Now getting into the review, when the Fear Street trilogy came out in Netflix on 2021, I loved it. It's a trilogy that I can watch with no problem. I enjoyed it a lot. If you like teenage slashers, you're going to have a blast with it. If it's not your thing, then being fully honest, don't even bother because maybe you're not going to like it. If this is the first time that you're watching a Fear Street movie, 100% you need to watch the trilogy. It's 10 times better. So I want to start by that this film unfortunately is not at the same level as the trilogy. I don't know if the expectations were high because of how good the trilogy is, but my expectations were extremely high. As I was reading the novel, I realized that based on the trailer, we're going to be a lot of changes. But I decided to go open-minded because changes sometimes are made, sometimes it's for the best, sometimes it's for the worst. When it comes here, the biggest mistake that the film makes is that they do not take any advantage of the previous world and the lore that has been created by the trilogy. Sort of Fear, she is the main plot point on the trilogy. Here, she's not even mentioned. They quickly talk about the shady side curse, and we see some scenes that we saw on the original trilogy from the previous killers that we know that they were possessed by sort of fear. And then we see a bulletin board that is commemorating the Camp Nightwing massacre. So we are 10 years after those events. Those are the only connections that we truly have between the trilogy and this one. And I feel that all those details, all the lore around Sort of Fear went to waste. And the story could have benefited from it. And also the development. There is a lack of development here. The film is just 1 hour and 20 minutes. Yes, it's short. But they could have explore a little bit deeper everything that goes around in Shadyside, how everything is connected, and they could have developed it a little bit more and even add to what we already know. At the end, like I said, we have a mid-credit scene that we see the mother with the symbol of Sort of Fear, so we can assume that her reason for being a killer and having that killing desire was because of Sort of Fear. But was her husband and her daughter also possessed by Sort of Fear? Was only her? Was it just now? Has she been planning all of this all along and she was only to kill these people when we know that the killers, they go on a rampage? There's a lot of missing details and a lot of questions. We could say that it could have been a plot hole adding her as one of the killers that we didn't knew on the original trilogy, but I feel that they could have explained it that one way or another. As an example, we have the Stonewall that had all the names of the people that were possessed by Sort of Fear, right? You could add that maybe her name was way too scratched for us to read it back in the original trilogy, so that's why we don't know about her. Because when I was watching the movie mid-through, I thought, is this going to be a Sort of Fear killer? I actually checked the names and the years that they appear. Nothing matched. So I thought, okay, maybe so that is not it. But I feel that that was something that could have been used. We have the whole lore about Sort of Fear at this moment on the story where the curse hasn't been dissolved, because that doesn't happen until 8 years later in Fear Street 1996. That is when we see the whole story about her, and then we get the part 2 of 1996 that is on the third one that is kind of a mess. And then we see how the curse gets lifted and everything goes back to normal. But at this point in this universe, that hasn't happened yet. So it would make completely sense for Sort of Fear to possess someone and start killing and doing the rampage. So there were a lot of missing details here, and I feel that they could have explained them, and one way or another it was going to make sense. So for me, that is the biggest mistake that this film makes, is that they didn't take any advantage of that. When it comes to the acting and the cast in general, they are decent at best. There we have some familiar faces here, and they are basically the ones that do it best. We already know that they have experience as actors. But when it comes to the newer ones, they were decent, but at the same time, it's not completely their fault. The characters, the way that they are written, they are just pure stereotypes. They are just boxed into the stereotype that they're supposed to be, and that's it. And I feel that that is a huge limit in the story, because you're not giving these characters the opportunity to surprise us, because the film is extremely predictable. Slashers, they tend to be predictable, that's for sure. I love slashers with all my heart, so I am not going to condemn a slasher for being predictable. I have seen way too many slashers in my life. They are my favorite subgenre, so it's not something that I am mad. But sometimes slashers are able to manage that a little bit better, so they are less predictable. But in this case, it's way too obvious. I feel like even if you haven't read the novel, you're going to guess very quickly who is the killer. When the film starts, that we get the whole introduction of the characters, I was like, okay, who could be? No one is ringing bells yet, until we get the confirmation that the teacher is Tiffany's father. And then we have the mother. And we have a killer that knows all the corners at school, and it's at school, giving us with four possibilities. Has to either be the school director or the VP, that she's in charge of everything and she wants everything to be perfect because she wants Shadyside and Shadyside High to be good again, so she could have motives, but at the same time it wouldn't make sense for her to start killing everybody. Then we have the teacher, and then we have the janitor. So who is the one that makes the more sense? The teacher. His daughter is running for prom queen. She wants it. He wants her to have her moment. And also the wife is probably pushing him. And now that there's a possibility that Satafir is on all of this, maybe she was really pushy about it, and he just did this because he loves them. So all along I am thinking is the teacher, because they were on the prom, they were the chaperones. So it would make completely sense for a teacher that knows everybody, that knows all the ways around school, to be the killer. Eventually we get to the reveal that they are two killers. So I was like, oh, so we have two. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but okay. My mind went straight to the VP, because I thought maybe she's into it because she wants to clean the school from the bad kids, because all the girls that are killed and the kids that were the partners, they could be called the embodiment of bad teenage behavior, doing drugs and doing alcohol and all of that, and she was against that. So maybe in her mind, we need to get the trash out. So on that logic, it could be her. But as the story progressed, and once the teacher is revealed, that is when I start thinking about the wife, because she's very calm, but at the same time it's like, why would you do this? But something was fishy about her. So that's when I started to think maybe she was part of this, or maybe she knew at least, and she's not the killer. But then of course we know that she is part of it. And what didn't help was reading the novel, because the girl that is the killer at the end, she's not precisely the mean girl, but she is the one that fits the part of being the mean girl or the it girl in a sense. So as I watch the movie, all I am thinking is, are they going to go with that same plot twist of being that girl? Are they going to play it the same way? She fakes her death early on the novel, so it's even a bigger surprise, but they didn't do that here, so it didn't surprise me. And that is another thing. We only see the bodies of a few of them, but are we supposed to be having bodies running around the school? And also the first girl that gets killed, they never say anything else about her. She's just disappeared, but we never see her body, how she was fed, none of that. And those are the things that are mentioned on the novel, and it's when the bodies, they start to appear. I feel that the film could have used the same timeline of being weeks before prom, or at least 1 week instead of 2 days. I think that would have been a little bit better, to be a little by little as the days progressed, to create this dense, dark atmosphere of there is a killer somewhere, we need to be careful, we have a curfew, because that happens on the novel. Here, none of that. Things that I like it. The music, the soundtrack, oof. You can never go wrong with the 80s. You can never go wrong with that. The clothing, same thing. I love the 80s fashion. Really like it, the dresses, normal clothing that they were wearing during school, and the hair, all that. Those are things that I like it. When it came to the production design, it was okay, but it wasn't as immersive on the decade as the original trilogy. The original trilogy did a way better job with that. As you can tell, the original trilogy, in my opinion at least, and I think that is the popular opinion, is way better than this. For me, this is unfortunately my biggest disappointment so far, because I was really looking forward for this, but unfortunately it didn't hit the same and just fall short compared to the other ones. Maybe if we weren't comparing it, this is going to be just an average teenage slasher, but when we compare it to what came before, really tell that there is a huge difference. I don't know if a 5th film will be coming, but I am just hoping that if they ever decide to bring another book of this to life, is going to be better, and maybe we can return to Sort of Fear and everything about her. Of course, we can expand, but I feel that, again, she is the major plot point in this universe, so one way or another, she needed to be here more than just the little hints at the end. So for me, unfortunately, this is a 2.5 out of 5 and a 5 out of 10. I'm sad, honestly. Again, I was really looking forward for this. I was going as open-minded as possible. I really wanted to like it, but that just didn't happen. But with that, I have ended the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you have watched this, what are your thoughts? If you watched the original trilogy, what are your thoughts? Which one is your favorite? For me is 1978. Love Dead for me is the best one, but for me all three are great. So if you have Netflix and maybe you watch this, 100% go and watch the original trilogy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Game over.